Are you struggling to build a better connection between you and your audience? Do you have a desire to have an audience filled with action takers, people who are on purpose? Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset, and today's topic is why storytelling is a secret sauce to social media. This is for you if you want to have impact and influence and share your authentic message. So as you jump on, please let us know who you are and where you are joining us from. Put your name in the comment section and let me know what you do while you are living, who you are called to serve, who is your divine client. Also, let me know what had you drop by tonight, what inspired you about the conversation that we're having to say, yes, I want to be a part of this. Also, this is about connection. This is about sharing. So I'm going to ask you to do a favor. Bless a life. Share this information with someone who you know is wanting to create a connection, an authentic connection using their social media, and want to really craft a powerful message. This is what we're going to be talking about tonight. If you're listening on the replay, please hashtag replay, and then go ahead and let us know who you are and who you are called to serve. Let us also know where you're joining us from and what you do while you're living. What are you passionate about? Also, I do know it's the replay. Let the comment, share, let us know what you're taking away, and definitely put your own information in the comment section. Now, why do we do that? Because this is our virtual networking opportunity. This is an opportunity for like-minded super achievers, entrepreneurs, consultants, and thought leaders to actually connect and share information. You never know who's going to be looking at your info and say, you know what? I need to connect with that beautiful person. Their information has me intrigued, or this is who I'm looking for. So I see that we have Patricia out there, and Patricia's already giving us flames and welcomes. Welcome, Taria. I see Barbara is out there. Powerful Barbara Polk. Welcome. Thank you, hon. I see Yetta Decker. Right, Yetta, and probably Ken is in the house. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And as again, if you're joining us, please let us know who you are. Put your name in the comment section. And if you're listening to the replay, definitely hashtag replay. Okay, so I am so excited for this series. We are beginning our communication series. We will be talking communication for the next 4 weeks or so. And this is about storytelling. This is about communication authentically and having impact and influence. This is communication built and designed to inspire. So I want to see if you guys can let me know what brought you out. What's one thing you would like to take away from this live? I'm going to just look. I see Patricia's joining from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Barbara is hailing from Texas. I know Yetta's in Ottawa, so we're beginning to stretch all over North America. So welcome, welcome. All right, well, I'm gonna get us started. I have a guest that just absolutely I adore, and she totally inspires me. So I'm gonna read her bio so that I make sure and cover everything. So the person I have the pleasure of bringing to the stage is a speaker and the founder of Serve, Share, Shine, and Social Media Saturdays. Her commitment is to empower coaches, consultants, and thought leaders to step boldly from behind the scenes and shine. She wants them to attract who they are called to serve. Social media strategies designed to fuel her business, capture your authentic message, and position you as an influencer in the marketplace. Somebody type hashtag influencer. If you are ready to move from frustrated to a clear, authentic social media strategy that you can immediately apply, get ready to welcome the social media strategist, my social media strategist, Taria Hodge.
Woo! I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we have some of your friends, some of my friends hanging out with us today.
I see.
I am so excited you're here. So I want to talk to everybody about what we're going to be talking about today. So this conversation is definitely one where it is for you if you've been struggling to build a connection between you and your audience. This is for you if you desire to have an authentic, filled conversation, and with people who are ready to take action, people who are ready to be on purpose. Our topic today is why storytelling is the secret sauce to social media. And this is, something that if you believe that you have a story that you are called to tell, storytelling, we believe, is the secret sauce to connection. So, Taria, talk to me about, I want you to just share with everybody your relationship with storytelling. How long have you been using story in social media, and when were you introduced to it?
Oh my goodness, that's a very good question. And I have to say that I didn't really understood the power or really understand the power of story, Suzanne, until I started working with you. So I have to say, I was one of those entrepreneurs on the journey who's just like, yeah, I know I have a story, but I don't think anyone wants to hear the story, right? And so I just, kind of kept it in. And there were times when I even questioned, what story is the story that I tell, for my business. So I had a lot of questions around that and was never really able to get the clarity to move forward with story until we started to do our work together. And then I really and truly understood, oh, this is why story is so powerful. And especially when it comes to social media, because I look at social media now as just one big storyboard. And so the more that you can play your story out on social media, whether it's through your postings, whether it's through your videos, then it just makes it easy for you to connect and then attract the people that you're called to serve.
So storytelling shifted a lot.
It shifted a whole lot for me.
All right, so let's get into this a little bit, because for most people, when I see most people think about telling their story, they think that their story is actually their bio, right? I'm going to tell you about my accolades. I'm going to tell you about what I do for a living. I'm going to tell you about my gadget. I'm going to tell you about what awards I think. And they take the stage and they think that is the story. Now, I introduced you, and this is what I want everyone to get. My job as the host is to give you Taria's accolades, right? To give you all the 411, the things she's done, and the things that she can't really say about herself. My job is to brag on her. And I want you guys to really get this. Taria's job is something totally different. So what's the difference between your accolades and the story?
So your accolades, once again, is the things that you do, the things that you have done. It's your what. Okay? And one of the things that I think that sometimes people really don't get and really don't understand, especially in the social media space, that people really don't connect with the what that you do. And I use myself in this example all the time. There are, I like to believe that there's only one social media strategist, right? But there are thousands of people out there who are in the social media space and provide social media services. So the question becomes, what makes me different? What makes me stand out? What makes, people want to work with me, my divine clients? And what that is, it's the power of story. And it's when I allowed myself to really let the story shine through, that's when I started to get people say, hey, I want to learn more about not what you do just in your business, but how you do life. I like how you show up, and I could see that you're up to big things.
Yeah.
I want a piece of that. And that is all done through the power of story.
And so well said, because this is a thing. Story, as it tells people why you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to say that story is the only vehicle I really know that is international. One, everybody around the world tells stories, but stories tell the history of the journey.
Yeah.
Right? It tells I like to say the highs, the lows, the crying moments, the wall kicking moments, the moments when you're just like, I don't know if I can do this, the moments where you had your aha moment, you rose, the moment that built your confidence, the moment you felt deflated. It really tells the whole journey. And what that does is it creates connection. So I want to talk a little bit about why story creates connection, and why is it, and I want everyone to get this, why is it that when we tell the messy things about our life, that people go, oh, I know you. Why is that?
Yeah, so that was one of the things that was huge for me, because and I could laugh about this now because it's been such a wonderful opportunity and journey to just unpack it. But there was a time when being vulnerable was so hard for me, and on this journey I used to think that the key to success is to show up perfect. It's like we have to show up like we have it all together and everything is put together. Okay. And behind the scenes, it's life is going on, business is happening. And I found myself like literally at a place asking myself a question, and the question is like, what is it that's blocking me from getting to my next level? So it's like I feel like I'm right there and I'm bumping up against the edge, but there's like almost like a wall that I could not break through. And it wasn't until I started unpacking, and so part of my story is vulnerability, right? And so it wasn't until I started unpacking what that looked like for me, and not just unpacking it for myself, but sharing it with my audience and sharing it with my clients. And so one of the things that you'll see, and you read it in the bio, right, is real strategies. So that's the thing. Like, I've done a lot, I've tried a lot, I've failed a lot. Okay. And then sometimes people see the success and they think that it's easy, or they might see you do something and they think that it's easy, and they might try to execute, or they have things that they're working on in their business, and then when they hit the wall, and it doesn't work or they fail, they retreat, they go into hiding, and they like internally they beat themselves up. And it wasn't until I started to share, like, no, that's all part of the journey. You want me to tell you how many times, I've ran campaigns that failed. I've ran ads that didn't work, that I had to go back and rework again. I too have done the videos where no one showed up, on the videos, and I just sat there by myself. And so it's a journey, and it's a process. And so it allowed me to be able to communicate. That's what I'm going to say, because it's not like I never felt those things on the inside. I just didn't know how to communicate them in such an effective way that still gets people to like raise their hand and say, you know what, you're my person. You're the person that I want to work with because you get it. And that's what story does. And that's what story has done for me.
It's interesting because we connect in this place. We connect in our pain. Truly, we do. And I think what's beautiful about stories is it allows you to be vulnerable and revisit that pain. And I think this is why it works. And I really want everyone listening to get this. And someone put the power of vulnerability in the comment section. Is that consider that the client, the divine client, the person who's looking for you is probably feeling very vulnerable about where that place where they're struggling, that place where they're stuck, that place where they're hitting the wall, that place that maybe they're throwing their hands up and going, I'm thinking of giving up. They're feeling really vulnerable.
Yeah.
And when we come with all our perfection, with all our, I got it going on, and we provide solutions, what happens is there's a disconnect because I'm feeling vulnerable and you're not touching my vulnerability. You're not connecting with my vulnerability. And if you don't connect with my vulnerability, I'm not going to be vulnerable with you. That is really what it is. So what I've learned story does for me is it allows me to go first. And this is so powerful. Story allows me to go first. And so they see the when you get on stage, they see the glitz, the glam, the this, the that, the looking good. But when I'm able to say, this is who you're seeing now, but let me tell you about, and I take them on my journey and I become vulnerable with the audience, I'm able to do two things. I'm able to put language to how they're feeling, which is so key. I'm able to put language to their emotions. But when I talk about the impact on me, when I was in that place, that is where vulnerable connection occurs. Yeah. Now, this is the psychology behind storytelling. And that's where the vulnerable connection happens. And in that moment, it's almost, I like to describe it, Taria, as there's distance between your audience, and it's almost like you walked off the stage, jumped through the camera, walked down and sat beside the person and said, I get you.
Yeah. You know, Suzanne, I just had a conversation before we got on to the live. And one of the things that, you know, the person on the other end said to me, you know, or expressed to me is how afraid, you know, of the camera and video. Now, this is the power of, like you said, the power of story. So yes, you can download 1,000 checklists. You could buy programs out there that will teach you all of the technicalities of how to do video and how to do a live video. Okay. But the vulnerability part of it and the connection is when I share, like, that was me too. And I remember when I first started, you know, doing videos, my biggest fear is that I would get on camera and someone will say something just out of pocket and I would be so enraged. And then my accent would fly all over the place. And then next thing you know, I'm on CNN doing a press conference where I apologize, you know, to the whole world. Like literally, that was my biggest fear.
I get you, because mine was actually being seen. And I don't mean being seen physically. It was being seen as I don't know what I don't know. As I don't have all the answers. It was being seen and being caught other than how I showed up. And so for me, and very much like you, I have an accent, and when I get excited, it come out. Just so, right? And I'm in my mind, I'm kind of quirky in that I like depth. I like digging for stuff. And I'm not a quick learner. I'm just going to tell everybody, I am not a quick learner. Don't give me textbooks. Don't give me that. I got to go read, dig, experience, feel it, get into it. So I'm always a person in the room where it feels like people are at warp speed and they're getting it. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it till I do it. But I'm the person that once I get it, watch out. Yeah. It's mine. I own it. So you know, I'm a slower learner. So I'm taking the stage with all this story in my head and the desire to be perfect. Yeah. And what made the stage and the camera my playground, Taria, was when I realized they didn't like my perfection.
Oh yeah.
They liked all the goofiness.
That's not what they're looking for.
No.
Right? And so it wasn't until I learned to share the story of what it was like for me, like my first times, showing up on camera. And I tell people part of what I do is that I remember that I would not do a live video unless I knew that I had one friendly face inside of my audience, right? And so it used to look like this to me. I would call, so hey, I'm about to do a Facebook Live. Like,
Are
can
you
you
coming?
Right. Yeah, just join it. And once I know that one friendly person is there, for support, it just made everything easier. So now in my business, when I share that story and I let people know that outside of all of the technical things, there's some psychological things that happen too, some emotional stuff, but you have that person there for support.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, you so get it. And that's one of the things that I share. Right?
Yeah.
The technical stuff, that's the muscle memory.
Yeah.
But it's a whole emotional stuff. And all of that is just conveyed by being vulnerable and sharing the story and then knowing what stories to tell when. So you always want to make sure that you're telling the stories too that serve you. So you mentioned that sometimes people confuse their bio with stories, and I've seen other instances where people really don't know the best story to tell or what story to tell that best represents their business. And
let's dive into that a little bit, because so one of the things that we have coming up is Unleash the Power of Your Story. I love the title. Every time I say it, I just love it. Unleash the Power of Your Story. And I see we have Liz Wilson out there. Welcome, Liz. And she says, yes, she had that fear as well with live videos. So Unleash the Power of Your Story is a storytelling program that Taria and I collaborate on. And what's so key about this is that one is we help you identify what story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
However, I really want to put this out there so people can get it. As we identify what story to tell, it's not only knowing what story to tell, but it's knowing that you've earned the right to tell that story. And I'm going to ask you, Taria, to talk a little bit about, for everyone listening, is what does it mean to earn the right to tell a story?
Oh my gosh. So earning the right is all about sharing with someone, not only have I been there where you are, but I've gone through some things and I've learned some things. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I can come back and share with you my learns. And that was one of the biggest questions. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because in the beginning, like I said, that was one of the biggest questions that I had about story. Okay. Because I've experienced people sharing stories and, having the feeling inside, and every story is worth telling. There's a purpose behind every story. But sometimes I felt like, oh my God, why did this person share this story, with me? What was I supposed to get out of the story? And I know for myself, I didn't want people to have that experience. So my option was, I'm just going to stay quiet until I understood it. Right. And once again, it's work. It's more than just letting everything come out. People talk about being authentic and they talk about being transparent, but there are strategies to these things, right? And so it's when you do tell that story, you do want, the listener, or you do want your audience or your clients to know that, hey, not only have I experienced this, but this is what I've learned. And this is how now I could help you through your journey of transformation. Right. I understand that you're here, but I can now get you to here.
And this is so key, because earn the right truly is about I've been on a journey. And I want to make this distinction, and everybody knows I love my distinction. So I want to make this distinction for everyone listening. You can tell when someone is giving you information and telling you a story where they scratch the surface of the information. In other words, I got the information in a book, I've kind of done it, but I haven't put in my 10,000 hours and I haven't been dragged through the mud with it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tell the person who, when they tell the story, you can say they have lived this.
Mm-hmm.
They have lived this. And this is the piece around it, is that when they've lived it, not only can they tell you about the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, but they can tell it in a way where they've not only learned the lessons, but this is the thing that I really want you to get. They are no longer a victim of their lessons.
Yeah.
Because you will hear people tell stories and they are telling the story from the position as the victim, and the storyteller is now the victim, which is not inspiring. And then you can hear the person who's gone from the victim to becoming the hero in their own life to now becoming the guide. And the guide is the person who can look back on the journey and say, wow, there are so many powerful lessons I've learned, and someone is in need of these lessons. And I am the person who can deliver these lessons because I've been there. And now I can hold their hand and guide them through it so that they don't have to go through all those roadblocks. Talk a little bit about the storytelling structure, Taria, because I know that for you was like game changer.
Oh, yes. So I call the storytelling structure, I equate it to therapy. So like literally, that's what it is, right? It's like literally therapy. So like you said, people connect in the mess. So that's the first thing, right? What's the mess? And if our viewers out there haven't figured it out, there's always going to be a mess. Okay. And so every time you are about to hit that next level, there's going to be some ish.
There's a new mess. There's a new mess.
There's a new mess. Okay. And so it's like you said, it's that journey. So we go through the mess. Okay. And the first part, and I love how you said it, the first part is realizing that you are in the mess and accepting that there is a mess. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like all messes, we hit a rock bottom. Okay. So there's a point where, you get to that low. Okay. Just when you think you can't go low no more,
It goes lower.
Right? And then you hit that bottom. And what I love about it is like the turning point. And that's the beautiful part about it. The beautiful part about it is when you say to yourself, well, okay, it's time for me to just come out of this mess. And you start to dig, you start to claw your way out, through the mess. And then as you are doing that, is the reflection part. And then that's the part that I didn't understand before, doing the work on story. Like, okay, all of this stuff happened. I hit my rock bottom. I made a decision that I'm not going to sit here anymore. But as I started to come through, what are the things that I've learned?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that too is also, a very pivotal point in it. And so sometimes it takes you a minute to pull out all of your learns. And after you get your learns, then you're like, okay, I'm on the other side of this. And so one of the things that you just talked about is telling the story from the victim standpoint. And I think that it's so important for us to realize that, where we stand in each part of our story, because you don't necessarily, you don't ever go, from mess, to transformation without at some point, experiencing the victim. So you got to do that. That's the point. You feel that. Okay. Then you're like, oh, okay, something needs to shift. What's going to shift? And then as you shift and you come out, the reflection piece of it, oh my gosh, what am I learned? And that was one of the things that I shared this morning, right? Is looking back, and an easy way for me to look at learns is saying, oh my gosh, all things happen for the good. So, what am I supposed to learn here in this point? Okay. And those lessons are the things that you turn around and you share with others.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about this talk structure, this storytelling structure, is that it is almost like your own personal movie.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to take someone on a journey with you, right? It allows you to take someone where they say, "Oh my gosh, I've experienced that too. Oh, I've been there." And then they see the shift, and then they start like, "Oh, could she take me on that journey? Could she help me? Could she do this? Could she do that?" It's a related journey. Now, the structure that we teach is the same structure that makes winning movies, that
Yes.
makes winning books. It's all the same structure. And we show you how to use that and powerfully use it as you're training speaking. But this is the key thing. I like to say that there's a sale in every story. And I'm not talking about the sale of I'm going to use Taria's words, your gadget, your widget. Not that. There's a different sale. Taria, what sale happens in the middle of the story?
We always say it all the time. People must buy you before they buy from you.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the most important sale. So do people really buy you? Do people really get you?
And so I want to really highlight why this is so important. Because most people, when they take the stage, they go bio presentation. And bio presentation, there's a gap that's missing. And that gap that's missing is called enrollment. And enrollment is when I decide I know, like, and trust you. And so there has to be time when you take the stage for someone to know, like, and trust you, right? There is that moment where you say, "You know what? I like her. She gets me. She or he understands me." And it's in the middle of the journey of story that you reveal yourself. You become vulnerable. You take what would be that professional mask off, if you will, that persona, and you let people get an inside view of you. And that is the moment they connect with you. And that connection, I always say, is the first sale in a process. It's the very first sale, right? And that is the key, because once that happens, then people are saying, "I like her." Now, when someone likes you, now they're open. That is what I want you guys to get. Now they're open. They're open to going, "Okay, now what next?
Yeah.
I want to learn more. I like her. She's my people." That is always the first sale. So we've got to take the stage, introduce. Connection must happen before presentation can be heard and land. And we all got good, great content. I get it. But before I provide my great content, I've got to create a great connection.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just smiling, right? Because I have to tie it back to social media.
Of course.
And this is why social media is so important. It's like one of the biggest things that you would have in your arsenal as a business owner, because it allows for that connection to happen, and that connection could happen quicker. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening. It's just like, oh wow, connection. People must buy you before they buy from you. And we've been taught. Just imagine this: before someone converts into a paying client, as you will, it's 14 to 21 touches. Last time I checked, those were the stats.
Yeah.
Okay. But just imagine if you are doing those touches via email and you got to touch them 14 times, or you're doing touches by phone calls, you got to touch them 14 times. Imagine how many touches you could have when you're on social media. Imagine the touches when it comes to videos. Imagine the touches when it comes to live video. So that's one of the things that, as we talk a little bit about social media and going from when video was not video was a thing that I was mostly afraid of, to the thing now that I embrace and I understand, is because it's the easiest way.
Yeah.
One of the easiest ways for me to have that connection. So even though I might not be face to face, this is like, I could reach out and touch you. This is the second best thing. And the connection is real, and people do feel that connection on social. And so the mindset is, well, how many opportunities am I going to give myself to connect with my divine clients and my audience?
It's so interesting because I see social media, thanks to Taria, because I was not a social media gal. I will say that. That's why she is my social media strategist. Is now I see social media as my own billboards.
Yes.
So imagine I have a billboard, and I have a billboard that lives on Instagram. I have a billboard that lives on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I have all these billboards on YouTube, and as traffic goes by, they get a glimpse of my billboard. And my job on my billboard is to give them a little bit of my story. Notice I didn't say my product or service, but my story, why I exist, what I'm passionate about. Suzanne is passionate about storytelling. She's passionate about speaking. And my job is to give them a little bit of that and allow them to see me, know me, and like me. That is the job of social media. And how we teach people to do it is by these little stories.
Yeah.
And not just the perfect stories, but the stories that say, I learned this. This is why I do this. This is what I learned while in the gym the other day. That's the post I just wrote, Taria. When I was weight training, it taught me about endurance. And when my coach told me to go more, I bring that mindset into my business now, because there's moments where I don't have endurance, but my mind kicks in when my body's tired. Now, I just told you a little story about Suzanne. And I learned that when I was competing, and I had a bomb, amazing coach. And my discipline and mastery, I learned there from my track coach, my bodybuilding coach, and my basketball coach. That's where my discipline came from, my mental strength. Now, I'm writing this post, you're going to get to know a little bit about me. Suzanne was an athlete, but I'm going to tie it back to why this is so important to me in my business. And then someone's going to drive by, they're going to read the post, they're going to say, oh, I didn't know that about her. They're going to keep driving. Tomorrow I'm going to drop something else, and you're going to go, oh, she likes to travel. And that's the power of social media. I think the other thing that you have taught me, and I want you to just talk a little bit about this before we close out, is the power of serving on social media. And serving is not just your product and service, but how do we serve?
Yeah. So that's the thing that, like, if you don't take away anything, our audience today, super achievers and superstars, social media is not a selling tool. Okay, let me put it that way. Yes, I see people positioning their products and their services all the time, but that's not, how you win on social media. You win on social media when you show up to serve.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to, going forward from this day, if you don't look at your social media this way, I guarantee you this will shift your mindset. If you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get on social media, I'm afraid of it. What do I do if you're overwhelmed with social media? When you tell yourself, this is my opportunity to serve today. How am I going to serve today? That's the question that you should ask yourself, like, every day. How am I going to serve today? And I guarantee you start asking that question, then you find it's so much easier for you to write that post. Like Suzanne said, she got up this morning and, she wrote the post and she connected it to her workout. Okay. But in there's a lesson. There's a learn, for someone who's on the journey that might be feeling a little bit discouraged. They want to give up. They want to quit. And what she just said was, I get you. I feel you. I have those moments too. Yeah. But this is what I've learned from my experience. Okay. And so now my muscle memory kicks in. My brain says, oh, hold up, before you quit, this is why you need to keep going. That's going to bless someone. I haven't
Yep,
seen it.
absolutely.
I don't know if you dropped it, but
No, I haven't
that's
dropped
what,
it yet.
okay. So I know when you drop that, okay, someone is out there saying, oh my gosh, it's like she's reading my mind. It's like she's here with me. How many of you have ever, put something out there and then you get those inbox messages or you get the phone call that says, oh my God, it was almost like as if you were talking to me. Were you sitting here, in my office with me when you wrote that post? And that's what we're going for when we're on social media. That's the effect right there. And so you don't have to be pushy, and every post that you make, you have to drop a link, to tell people go buy this or whatever. People really start to reach out to you and say, you know what, how can you help me? Right? This is where I'm at, and based on what you have shared, and you are the person, how can we get into a conversation? And believe it or not, like, that's the best way that I could put, like, the shift on social media, because people have anxiety, around it, because they think it's this thing that I need to get up and I need to just push my products all the time. And then when people don't take those call to actions, or the conversions are low, then they beat themselves up, and then all of a sudden social media doesn't work. I don't want to do it anymore. I quit. And then it's like a ghost town. Then I have to come in, then I have to fix everything anyway.
Well, Taria, thank you so much. And I want to leave everyone with this. There's a reason why Taria and I have this collaboration. One was, I was not enjoying my social media at all. And Taria was not enjoying the camera to the extent that she could.
Mm-hmm.
And as we went to work together, so I hired Taria hired me. And as we began to work together, we began to see the beauty in the story for both tools, for videos and written content and posting. We began to see story as the best way to find amazing content that inspires, influence, and impacts. And we said, we need to show people how to do this. Remember, we were on our journey. I hired her, a hot mess on social media. She hired me, not where she wanted to be in front of the camera. We went on a journey of discovery, and now we have lessons we want to share. So this is what we'd like to invite you to. We're going to continue to serve. And we have a series of webinars coming up called Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage. We're going to show you the beginning of why you want to unleash the power of your story. This, you will leave probably like, OMG, I did not know all this about story. This is a total blessing. As we said, we come to social media to serve. And so we're going to invite you to spend more time with us. We're going to invite you to hang out for about 90 minutes with us. We're going to give you some great information that you will be able to use right away. And you'll leave on fire. Fire. We promise you, fire. And so come on out and hang out with us. We're going to put them in. We have, I think our first one is May 6th.
May 6th, Thursday, May 6th at 7 p.m.
And we'll be here. We're going to be having a great time. So with that, Taria, what are your last words for everyone that's listening? And actually, before I give you the last words, I see we have Janine has joined us. So welcome and thank you for joining us, Janine. And Janine had some great comments. I'm going back to hers. Real talk, ladies. I love that. Right to the point. Real talk. Very true. People must buy you before they buy from you. I love it. Patricia's like, connections truly is everything. That's very, very true. Who else do I have? I have Facebook user. We don't know who you are, but they just got flames. We're on fire according to them. So I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I see Yetta.
Hi,
She's
Yetta.
saying it will be a great time. Yetta has hung out with us for Magnetize and Monetize, as well as Unleash the Power of Your Story. So she is speaking truth to power. Who else do I see? And I see Liz Wilson. And yes, you were right. I was concerned I would be, I was concerned I would be who I am unedited. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is the secret. We're going to show you how to structure being unedited. That is when it becomes fun. Bring your authentic, unedited person to the stage. We're going to show you how to do that. So you show up real. And authentic doesn't mean saying anything, but it does allow you to be yourself, because this is the thing. The person you're looking for as a client is looking for you. And if you show up as your censored self, they won't find you, Liz. But when you show up as your authentic, true, and sometimes unedited self, they will say, that's my client, that's my person, that's the person I've been looking for. I'm meant to work with her. That's my people. That is why stories work, and that's why authenticity and vulnerability is the secret sauce to dropping great videos and strategies for social media. So with that, Taria, last words, hon.
Last words. Just remember, once again, like I said, social media is a serving tool. Ask yourself how you're going to serve every day. But if you know that you are challenged with, the story to tell that would allow that to be easier to do, then you need to join us on May 6th for not Unleash the Power of Your Story, Magnetize and Monetize, the virtual stage. That is so pivotal, so key. Cool, very first cool introduction to your story and the story that you need to have to really make your brand show up and shine.
Thank you so much. I have been sitting down with social media strategist Taria Hodge. This is Unstoppable Mindset. My name is Suzanne Hart. We will be back here next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You definitely want to join us, because it will be time for another hour of conversation. This is for you. These conversations are for you. If you are someone who has a desire to have an unstoppable mindset, this is for you. If you want to have influence and impact, both on social media and on the live stage. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Please do like and share. And thank you for leaving your comments. As we sign off, please let us know what you are taking away. Just drop it in the comments section. We will see you back here next week. Take care. Blessings.
All right. Take care, everyone.